Now we're recording. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so me and Cliff here again. We're here in Gilroy, and we just got out of Kick-Ass 2, which has not been doing very good in the review category, really.
Yeah.
That being said, I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I mean, from what I've heard from, like, you know, other people who saw it.
Yeah, Grant didn't like it very much.
Yeah, Grant said he wasn't a big fan of it, and I talked to a few other people. They were saying, oh yeah, the first one is better, which it is a little bit better, but like, even with that in my mind, you know, after coming out and watching it, it was a lot better than I thought it'd be. But I mean, of course, well, as far as, you know, if you're going to compare the original Kick-Ass 2, the comic book versus the movie, I mean, they changed a lot of things. Like,
well, the original Kick-Ass changed a lot of things too. So
well, of course,
surprised me.
Yeah, no, of course. Like, Katie, what's her name? Katie DeMaw, whatever.
Yeah.
Originally in the comic book, she hates his fucking guts, Kick-Ass's guts, because he pretended he was gay or whatever. And they kind of resolved that in the second one.
Mostly, like, here's our excuse to get her out of the rest of the movie, pretty much. Here's her 5 seconds, she breaks up, she goes on her merry way. That's pretty much all there is to that. They get rid of her really fast.
Yeah.
It's like, I think this, I'm pretty sure it's when we had a different director from the first one, and you can kind of tell, because it's like trying to recreate the feel of the first one, but I don't think it really pulled it off in the same way, because like the narration in this one feels really, really cheesy in comparison to like the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And like a lot of the same style and stuff doesn't quite work here like it did in the first one. Like Matthew Vaughn, I think, directed the first one.
Oh.
And he kind of knew how to balance like the cheesy elements with the comedic elements in this one.
Yeah.
This one didn't really balance out the comedic elements quite as well. I thought there was a lot of unnecessary fat they could have easily cut out.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I'm interrupted there. But what happens in the movie is basically what happens in the comic books, which is Mindy, Hit Girl, basically goes on to live with the cop partner, Marcus.
Yeah.
From the first movie, who was Nicolas Cage's partner. I miss Nicolas Cage, by the way.
Hey, you got Jim Carrey. So.
Yeah, and we'll get to Jim Carrey, but he was pretty good. Yeah. But basically says like, I don't want you being Hit Girl anymore. I want you to try to be a real girl. Which of course, like, okay, how long's that gonna last? You know she's gonna get back in the movie. That doesn't surprise anyone. But then you have this really, really unnecessary subplot where Hit Girl is like trying to get in with the popular girls.
Well, okay, well, to be fair, I mean, that little side story, I mean, that was based off of the Hit Girl, you know, was it like, there was like only a 2-3 issue mini.
Oh, is that what that thing was?
Yeah, there was a little mini thing, mini comic book series with just Hit Girl, just trying to, it just bridges the gap between the first Kick-Ass and the second Kick-Ass.
Oh, so that's what that whole crap was. It's so completely unnecessary, because that entire time I was like, oh my god, who cares? Like, I was like...
Yeah, I mean, sure, it gives you, like, some more backstory.
It does, but it doesning really add anything. Yeah, it's completely unnecessary. You can cut it out and nothing would change. It doesn't add anything.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, I was thinking about, like, look, if I cut all these scenes and involve this subplot, none of the main story elements in the movie would change.
Not really.
None. I think I was thinking about it really hard, except for like the Six Stick, whatever it was called.
Oh right, yeah. But I mean,
even that was like
she didn't even use that in the comic book. I mean, what she did was basically she got the queen bee or whatever. She grabbed her, like, she, I guess, tied a rope or whatever around her like leg and hung her off the side of the school, and it's like, don't fuck with me, or, you know, I'm gonna drop you or whatever, blah blah blah. And she did
could totally get away with that.
Yeah. I mean, she did though, but the queen bee landed in a bunch of garbage, and she was okay. But anyways, no, yeah, they did change that whole. Yeah,
but the point, like, instead we get this like vomit and poop joke where it's like, here's a stick that make you vomit and diarrhea at the same time. That's basically that. It's like, look at that. Okay. Anyway, I just found this movie wasn't as funny as the first one was. And granted, I watched the last Kick-Ass recently. It hasn't aged all that well, necessarily. Really? At least in my opinion. But it's like, it's still funnier and has a more consistent tone than this one does.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, it's like, especially, like, it can't tell if it wants to be like a drama or a comedy or like what it wants to be. Granted, oddly enough, it worked much better as a drama, like an action drama movie, than it did as a comedy.
I kind of, I don't know. I mean, I thought, well, because the original Kick-Ass, it did have elements of comedy in there too.
But even then, it was still a very, even like when it got darker towards the end, it still had a very lighthearted tone throughout the whole movie. Yeah. This one has a very tonal shift in the halfway point, if you notice.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess with when you deal with Kick-Ass's dad getting killed.
A spoiler. Yeah, but
if you.
Yeah, you know the drill, guys.
But what was I gonna say? But yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Like.
Okay, so let's break down the story so you can get an idea what we're talking about. Obviously, spoilers ahead, as I'm sure you're aware if you watched any of our videos before. But what happens is it takes place, I'd say, at least a couple years after the first one.
No, at least a couple of months.
At least a couple of months.
Maybe a year. At most.
Some point in the future, past the first movie, an unspecified time. Where at this point, Kick-Ass and Mindy are going to high school together at this point.
Yeah.
And Kick-Ass has stopped being Kick-Ass, which lasts all of 5 minutes pretty much. Until like new superheroes start popping up, which include Chris Turk from Scrubs as what was his name?
Fuck,
some kind of like space themed superhero, which had a great line, which is actually in the comics because I remember this issue, which is like this is my like levitation bat or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, this is my gravity stick.
Gravity stick, that was it.
And then Kick-Ass like, really?
It's like, no, this is a bat wrapped in tinfoil.
Yeah,
it's like that actually was an exact line from the comic.
Oh yeah, which was funny. I mean, I'm glad like they threw in like not only just like references to the original comic, but they also threw in like hints to other stuff that Mark Millar did.
Mark Miller?
Well, however you pronounce his name, the writer.
Yeah, I mean, granted, Mark Miller has really kind of lost his mind over the past several years.
Really?
Because like his work has gotten increased. Like some of the nastier stuff from the books they cut out in the movie.
Yeah, obviously.
In fact, they even made fun of it.
Oh yeah, with the dog.
With the dog, because in the book, very later on in the movie, there's a character named Colonel Stars and Stripes, played by Jim Carrey. Who Jim Carrey is great in this, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, isn't spat out one-liners, but he's playing such. He's playing a legitimately good character.
He's living up the role.
And he's like he's playing for all it's worth. Like he's actually acting. God bless him, which is more than most comedic actors do these days. Yeah. But that's a whole other rant for another day.
Okay. Well,
I actually have his stick.
Oh, okay.
I got like a replica from Comic-Con, like the Stars and Stripes stick. It's actually pretty awesome. It's hanging up on my door right now. Anyway.
But anyway, so like
he has his dog.
Yeah, the dog. They're originally in the comic book. The dog gets decapitated.
Decapitated. In this case, they say
along with Stars.
Jim Carrey dies. Tear.
Yeah. But anyway, so like originally, the cops find his body with this dog's decapitated head on Stars and Stripes' body. But
in this one, they go is like, should I kill the dog? He's like, no, I'm not that evil.
Yeah, it's like.
I'm not gonna kill the dog.
Yeah, and then also later on when the motherfucker and his
they call him the motherfucker, which is a stupid name in the comic books. Still a stupid name here, but at least they make fun of it.
Yeah, and and as far as his costume goes,
admittedly that was actually a funny way they introduced it. So what happens is Red Mist from the first movie is basically just completely lost his goddamn mind after the events of the last movie.
Yeah.
But he's now living with his mother in this big ass mansion pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And then one day, like in a fit of adolescent rage, he accidentally kills his mother in a tanning bed and takes over like the family, kind of takes over the family business, except for one character, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But anyway, so basically, when they're cleaning out the mother's things, he opened one box and he finds all his bondage gear, which falls like S&M gear that falls on the ground. He goes, I'm going to turn this into a costume. And I don't know what he did with the anal beads, but I'm slightly concerned about that. Anyway, so he comes back and he converts the bondage gear into this really kind of S&M supervillain costume. He calls himself the motherfucker.
Which makes him look like a fucking psychotic gimp. I mean, I don't know, from the first time they showed the the costume or whatever. Like, I was just like, really? I mean, what was wrong with the original, the original comic book version? I thought he looked more badass.
Well, honestly, I kind of liked the costume he's in here because I thought it fit more to his character. By the way, the actor who played the villain in this one, I forget his name.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse. I'm just going to call him Christopher because I can't say all that at once. Or a.k.a. McLovin, which people love to, call
Either way, McLovin is fucking great in this movie. Like, he just totally fucking owns the part, and I gotta give him credit for that. Like, he can legitimately act, too. Kind of like with Jim Carrey. Like, Jim Carrey and McLovin are the best parts of this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, wait, we all know Chloe Grace Moretz can act.
Yeah.
I mean, she's proven, she's like one of the most talented young actresses out there right now. Or actors, whatever you want to call them. But, she's great, but even then, she's doesn't have much of a spotlight, or as much as
mostly because she's trying to fit in as
which is like
girl or whatever. But
it's like we know that's not going to happen. So can you just get on with it? And of course it doesn't. But so it kind of keeps that goofy term like Kick-Ass joins like this team of wannabe superheroes called what was it?
Justice Forever or something.
Justice Force, I think it was.
Something.
Either way, something with JF. But anyway, so like the parts with them, like when they're like stopping crime, those were really fun scenes.
I loved watching those scenes.
Like when there's Kick-Ass hooks up with this chick named Night Bitch. And they kind of hook up, and then they have this awesome scene where they have to like stop like drug trafficking or like sex trafficking
ring or something.
Yeah. Either way, something very nasty. And of course, like the action scenes in the movie were really good.
Oh yeah, the action scenes definitely were another one of the highlights.
They were top notch. To give them the credit, I think this movie's getting more hate than it deserves. Because I wouldn't call it a great movie by any definition.
Well, I mean, why did people why are people hating on this movie? Like, are they mostly like fans of the comics?
I doubt. I don't think it's that. I think I see the flaws in it. Like, it is kind of totally inconsistent. There is a lot of plot threads that really go nowhere. I mean, I can see why people don't like this movie, and I can certainly understand if you don't like this movie. But I don't think it's as bad as 28% that it's getting on Rotten Tomato right now.
It's not that bad. Like, it's not a terrible movie. I mean, like you said, there are some problems here and there, but it's.
I mean, the good stuff that's good is still good.
Yeah. Like
Jim Carrey and McLovin are easily just totally owning their parts, and it's they're a ton of fun to watch. Like McLovin especially gets a lot more screen time in this movie than they did in the last one, and it really pays off because again he just fucking dominates it. He's just having so much fun with it, and it's so clearly evident in his performance, and it's a lot of fun to watch as a result.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch him go apeshit, very much. But anyway, things kind of take a turn because while Kick-Ass is doing this team and he's stopping all these crimes with Curl, Stars, and Stripes.
Yeah.
Meantime, McLovin's trying to build like his own little supervillain army with the motherfucker. Then he has to like fill like mafia hit people. So you have like the small little guy. It's called the Tumor, which is actually pretty clever.
Yeah.
Then you had like. I don't know where they found this woman.
They call her Mother Russia.
Mother Russia. I don't know where they found this actress.
Apparently, she was like a Olympic class like a weightlifter or something like that.
Oh, was she? Is that where they found her?
So.
Either way, she was pretty awesome too. To give her like Jesus, where'd they find her? But they had Mother Russia. Then you had a couple other ones that Genghis Carnage, I think was one, and some other one that you only he gets 5 minutes of screen time before he gets killed off. But either way, it's not that important. Either way, and their scenes are a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah.
Like
the cast, the interaction between the cast.
Yeah, like they're all having fun together. So it's giving I would not say there's any bad performance here.
No, not really.
At least not in comparison to what I've seen this year. So maybe I'm being biased in that regard. But either way, it's like there's no real bad performance. A lot of the flaws in the movie come from like the writing and the pacing and the tone. Those pretty much are the three major flaws, and granted, those are big fucking flaws. But there's no fault in any of the actors here.
Well, I mean, as far as like the the really big tonal differences or whatever, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with trying to, I guess, cut down on a lot of the really dark tones from like the original comic book.
Yeah.
Because like during the neighborhood scene or whatever, where motherfuckers go around and
which was also a pretty damn good scene.
It was a good scene, but like. Compared to the original comic book, there was a lot more crazy shit going on, like kids getting shot to death and stuff. And then
obviously, and then they had the rape scene. I know.
Yeah, the rape scene instead they
kind of made that as a joke too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, now you're gonna feel what evil dick feels like. Then he and so it's like, oh crap. He turns around, and he's trying to get it up, but it's like admittedly, okay, that's kind of a funny way to avoid doing that horrible scene, and it was supposed to be a comedy, but it's like pretty much after McLovin gets his evil team together, that's oddly enough where the comedic elements kind of stop, but also where the movie gets more interesting.
Yeah.
At least the way I thought so, because like it starts up after Colonel Stars and Stripes dies, which I think is around the halfway point.
I think so, yeah.
Like things get a little more interesting after that, which is too bad because I like Jim Carrey. But then you get like all this stuff, like then of course the police crack down on superheroes. They arrest Kick-Ass's dad in an attempt to like get to him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then they get him killing his dad, which is like, okay, I actually should have saw that coming, but And then it leads to like one like epic final showdown at like the supervillain bar, which had a shark that was like laying on the bottom of the floor, which is supposed to be sleeping, but it's pretty much
like,
dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in the original comic book that the shark was dead. Like they didn't really do anything.
In this case, they use that as a twist at the very end. But either way, yeah, that pretty cool fight scene with them all going at it. It's fun. It's dark. It's much darker than I think it probably should be.
I mean, no, I thought. Well, I thought there was still some comedic elements in there, like with the mom and dad, superhero.
True,
duo.
but even then, that's more like haha. It's like okay, that's
yeah. But funny. I mean, like if you like, compared to the comic book again, like it's the final scene, like. It took place in the city itself, and the villains were already like fucking shit up. They're shooting people and stuff. Whereas, in the movie, Kick-Ass and Hit Girl, they brought their, the team with them to the supervillain headquarters, and they, did their final showdown there. Yeah. So it's not as like, insanely crazy and violent as it is in the comic books.
And then you kind of had that stupid little plot point where in this movie. One of Dave's best friends plays another superhero called, what do they call him?
Battle Guy or something?
Something like that, Battle Guy. Well, but then, of course, they have the other, like, almost pointless subplot, whereas, like, the other best friend feels left out, so he tries to get a superhero too. But so he's too unoriginal, so he basically wears the opposite color scheme as Kick-Ass and calls himself the Ass Kicker.
Something like that.
Something retarded like that. But it's like, even then, they give us about roughly 5 minutes of screen time.
That didn't need to be in there. I mean, it wasn't even in the original comic book in the first place.
But it's like, maybe if they spent more time on it, it could have been more interesting, because even the other character had more screen time in the last movie than this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, maybe it could, like, I'm saying, like, if you're gonna do something like that, because he eventually ends up betraying Kick-Ass over, like, I'm mad at you, kind of, sort of, so I'm gonna sell you out to this psychotic.
Yeah, over something really stupid. And
you made fun of my stupid superhero name. I'm gonna go rat you out to this clearly psychotic maniac and act surprised when he wants to kill you.
Yeah, but
fucking idiot. But it's like stuff like that you could have done without that. It's like,
that could have been cut out completely.
Like there's a lot of fat you could have cut out of this to make it more precise movie out of it. I think that's kind of the main problem. Is like it feels like there's too much going on.
Oh like I mentioned earlier, they added in the whole the Hit Girl.
Subplot, which again was completely unnecessary. It was basically just 20 minutes of padding.
Yeah, I mean, it was unnecessary, but I mean, again, if you really wanted to, know the backstory of, what happens between Kick-Ass 1 and Kick-Ass 2, then just read the Hit Girl comic book.
It's like, I don't think people are crying out for the Hit Girl adaptation either.
No, not really. I mean, she's badass, but
it's like,
there's not really a whole lot you can really
work with. I don't care if she doesn't fit in with the popular girls. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, I could kind of see it. I mean, honestly, like, I could kind of see it working. I mean, if it could be like a twisted version of Mean Girls or something like that, where there's like a ton of.
But then again, either make that its own movie.
But like that's what I was gonna get at. Like, make that its own little thing. Don't throw that in there in the Kick-Ass 2, because honestly, that really doesn't make sense. Also, like there was also this, there's another mobster guy in jail. That's related to the motherfucker.
Yeah, that was actually...
Which, again, that's also kind of from the Hit Girl comic book.
Was that in there? Like the stuff with the uncle?
Yeah, the stuff with the uncle was in the Kick-Ass...
I actually liked that scene.
Yeah.
Because, like, at least, mostly because of the actor playing the uncle, I thought was pretty fucking badass.
He was badass, but, like, that, again, like, that kind of could have been cut out. I mean, like...
I don't know. I think it served its own purpose. Again, it gave more flexibility to McLovin to do his own acting shtick, and just watching him grow as a character, the complete psychotic nut job because of the very end, I thought was kind of an enjoyable journey in and of itself. Because again, he is like easily, I think he's pretty much the best actor in this movie, oddly enough, because I think he really impressed me. Oddly enough, I just thought he really just, I'm a sucker for a good villain. People who watch my channel know this. Okay. But I just thought he did a really good job, and I like that scene. I like it says, okay, basically, the only person that stands up to the motherfucker at this point is like his, what do you call him, henchman, basically, Jose.
Yeah. That guy, John Leguizamo.
Yeah. And he's basically the only person that supports, and then his uncle comes in, who actually runs the family from prison, says, basically, it's like, we don't like what shit you're doing, so we're gonna kill him, and then guy goes, okay, well, thank you for that. I needed that, and I'm going to kill more people. And basically, after that, just completely loses his mind, which is like, okay, I can kind of see the purpose of that. I agree, you could probably have cut it, but
at least save that for Kick-Ass 3 or something.
I mean, it was at least better than the stupid sorority girl shit.
Yeah.
Like the dance competition shit.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that
it's like, and the stupid,
or made
the
its own
vomiting or poop jokes.
Yeah, or at least make that in its own, its own movie or whatever. But anyways, I mean, overall, the whole movie, I mean,
it was okay.
I
had some fun with it. Is it a great movie? Hell no. But
no, it's a good movie. It's entertaining, but there are problems with it. I mean, it's definitely worth a matinee.
I would definitely say the first one is better. I would say the first one is better.
At least, those two,
if anything, because I felt the first one balanced the dramatic and the comedic elements better than this. Granted, the source material for Kick-Ass 2 is a lot darker and has a lot more gruesome shit in there. But at the same time, the first Kick-Ass was like that too, and they found a way to make it work.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes from the change. I think a lot of it comes from the change in direction.
Change of direction and just trying to add in too much stuff from both Kick-Ass 2 and the Hit Girl comic book.
There's too much there. I mean, at least the first Kick-Ass knew what to add and what to cut out. Granted, there's some stuff. I'm not saying the first Kick-Ass was a masterpiece either.
Oh no, I mean they also changed stuff from the original Kick-Ass, movie from stuff in the comic books.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like every adaptation does. In fact, like a lot, the Kick-Ass movies in general focus a lot more, oddly enough, on the villains than the books ever did, really. Because if you think about it, the first Kick-Ass comic book, you didn't find out Red Mist was the bad guy till like the last issue.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And the movie, that was like its own subplot. So from that category, it's actually focused good attention on the villains, and I think that's actually been one of the strengths of the movie, is that it kind of fleshes them out a little bit more, makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I actually enjoy those particular subplots, but oddly enough, probably more than I enjoy the thing of the main hero. Oh, and there's a part at the end that made me uncomfortable.
And it just, I don't know, like,
and
also didn't make sense.
It kind of came out of nowhere. Was a part where after the shit's hit the fan, they have their big superhero fight, and like several people die in the process.
Yeah.
Mindy's on her bike, says, I have to leave New York. I can't go back home, and I can't stay here, so I'm pretty much going off into the sunset, pretty much. And then she ends up like kissing Dave.
Yeah, which
is creepy on multiple levels, mostly because the main actor is in his 20s, and Mindy is still a teenager.
Yeah.
An underage teenager, as far as I know. So it's like, that's actually really creepy.
Also, I mean, it doesn't...
it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, like, as far as I remember from reading Kick-Ass 2, like, I don't think they ever really had that sort of relationship. I know they were, like, really good friends, but, like, I don't...
To me, it's like that's just that makes me a little icky.
I mean,
and that just makes me really uncomfortable, to be completely honest. But it happened only once, and I don't think it'll ever happen again, thank God. But either way, it's like, really, that's where you're gonna go with that? And then there's the whole thing with the sorority chicks and pretty much the One Direction band that plays there.
Yeah, that.
Where it's like
another pointless scene.
Another pointless scene where basically, I guess, Mindy's going through puberty, I can only assume.
Well,
and just starts plays the One Direction people, or might as well be. I think they made up their own band for this.
Yeah, someone who cares.
Someone they couldn't license, but either way, you get like the parts of the stupid fro hair and the douchebag look, which I can't stand. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. Either way, another pointless scene to another kind of just a creepy conclusion, which is just like all kinds of ew. I don't just
Yeah. But anyways, Kick-Ass 2, worth a matinee.
I would say maybe Rent for me.
But I mean, if you really want, to get the whole, I guess the entire, the original, how do you say, basically I would just suggest reading the original graphic novel.
I mean, like, Mark Miller is one of those writers who's gotten increasingly more violent as he gets older, apparently. So it's you've seen like his other superhero comic book. It's just reached ridiculous proportions. Anyway.
Oh, shit. I mean, I've only read Wanted at Superior, which they did. They threw in that little shout out to that comic book as well.
Yeah, they threw quite a few shout outs. Also, this is kind of another note. I was kind of really annoyed by all the little comic booky stuff they threw in there, just to remind you, hey, this is a comic book
the
adaptation.
Speech bubbles, right?
Like the speech bubbles and the meanwhile and all that shit, like comic book counseling. It's like, I get it, it's a comic book adaptation, but even Spider-Man doesn't pull this shit off, so please don't shove it down my throat. Granted, I kind of like the artwork from Ramona Jr. that popped in there once in a while, like the villains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, because he did the art for the comic books. I appreciated that.
Yeah, that made sense, doing that, but like with the speech bubbles and all that stuff.
But it's like, even then, it's like, you didn't need that. Simple subtitles could have worked, and it's like, and even then, this movie didn't really focus really much on comic books, oddly enough. I mean, at least the first movie, they spent a lot of time in a comic book shop, so it kind of made sense. Here, I don't think they mentioned comic books. Well, they mentioned a few times.
Well,
only
they
like,
just,
this isn't a comic book.
Yeah.
This is real life, which I say like 20 times.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know, I didn't really buy the whole moral of we're just trying to do what's right. It's like the whole point of Big Daddy and like Hit Girl wasn't really much to do justice. It was for revenge. So like, I'm not sure that really fits well either. At least as far as these characters are concerned. So I felt like that part didn't really make much sense. Like, the whole point of these people being superheroes was for a thrill ride. There wasn't much moral conviction there to begin with.
Yeah.
So to kind of pull that out of their ass like that is like, I didn't really buy that either.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But
anyways, so yeah, as far as trailers goes, I mean, there was
I wrote them down this time.
Oh, good.
Yep. Because I was like, okay, we keep forgetting every goddamn time. So this time I'm going to write them down. As that way we don't forget. First one we got was Riddick. It looks like they're actually trying to do the first one again.
Yeah, which I mean, I actually did like the first.
The first one's okay. Yeah, the first one's fun. Yeah. I mean, like pretty much it's it is a sequel to the last one. I looked it up. It's not a prequel.
Oh.
So basically, like, I guess the alien race he took over at the end of the second one basically said, we're done with your shit, and they left him on this like planet. Now he has to fight more monsters that hide in the dark too. So it's basically Vin Diesel being Vin Diesel, badass Riddick character, and fighting all kinds of monsters. That's pretty much, it looks almost exactly like the first one.
All right, well, what's next?
The Sapphires.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I heard some talk about it. I mean, it's been pretty big in like the indie film.
This is the first I've ever heard about it, so I was kind of curious what it is. It's like basically about Australian booking agent, pretty much, who like finds these 4 African American singers back in 1968.
They're like, I don't think they're not African. They're Aborigine.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Australian.
Oh, fair enough. Either way,
they go to Vietnam to entertain the troops
during the Vietnam War. So, and then of course, again, the trailer kind of shifts tones too, from like kind of quirky comedy, and then all of a sudden dramatic Vietnam War.
It's based on a true story. So.
Yeah, well, always kind of take that with a grain of salt, but it's like The Exorcist is based on a true story.
Okay, so next is The Hobbit, and
yep, The Hobbit. The Hobbit looks good.
Yeah, I mean I've seen the trailers a bunch of times already.
I mean, if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the first one. A lot of people didn't, but I actually liked the different tone of it. And I like the fact that I kind of explore the world a little bit more. Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about the kind of shameless plug of Legolas in there, but I kind of have the feeling he's going to be one that kills the dragon instead of the nameless guy from the book. I don't think he was given a name in the book. I think he was just as this random guy with arrow who kills dragon.
I've never read the books.
It's only one book, actually. It's it's actually like smaller than Fellowship of the Ring. So the fact they stretched out into 3 movies is kind of astonishing.
Okay.
But either way, it has Benedict Cumberbatch as the dragon, and as a necromancer, and it has what the fuck is his name? Basically, it has Sherlock and Watson from the BBC show, both in the same movie again. So like, sweet.
Cool. Was there like one other trailer?
There was. I have it written down. 300.
Oh, right, 300.
301.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I mean, it looks just as violent and insanely visually stunning as the first one.
It's like, I'm not sure how I feel about it though, because like, I mean, the only reason this was even made is because of the success of the first movie. Right. Like, this wasn't even the graphic novel this is based on didn't even exist until after the movie came out.
Oh, wait, I thought it was the...
Like, pretty much what Zack Snyder said in an interview, the only way I'd direct a sequel is if Frank Miller went and, like, wrote the second book.
I thought you were talking about the first one. Okay, no. Okay. So the second book didn't even...
No, it didn't even exist till after the movie came out.
Oh, okay.
So basically it says, like, Zack Snyder said the only way I would direct a sequel is if Frank Miller wrote a graphic novel sequel to the original book, which apparently he did. So now there's a sequel coming out. Which, like, I don't know. I don't think it looks quite as good as the first one. Yeah. But, like, I like the first one. I thought the first one was good.
Yeah, I did like watching the first one.
I'm going to miss Gerald Butler. I will say that much. But,
oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, granted, you still have Sarah Connor in there, so that's really badass. But, I
mean,
it looks okay. When I'm still going to see it. So, because I kind of screwed myself over with that obligation. This has been a fucking terrible year for movies, by the way. It's worth noting. Because I think most of the movies I've seen this year, all the reviews have been like shit, 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 decent, shit, 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 good, shit, 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 great, shit, shit, really shit, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, I think it's all we got. So, final thoughts?
Kick-Ass 2. Just either read the original comic books, or just if you really want to watch the movie, just matinee.
I'd say rent it or wait for it to pop up on Netflix for me. But it's okay. I had fun, so
Yeah,
I don't regret seeing it.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it enough. So I think it's all we got.
Yep.
So we still got a little bit of catching up to do. I'm still waiting on a couple people to get Elysium done. Then we also got Percy Jackson and Planes. So shit, decent again. And I think that's about it. So see you all when I see you.
Yep.